Hi, welcome back to the workshop for episode 39 of the 335 build. It's absolutely bloody Baltic in the workshop at the moment, but I'm going to tough it out as long as I can and see if I can get the pickup routes done today. Okay, so after many weeks of working on the neck, and especially about 3 weeks of working on the headstock veneer alone, it's actually time to move back to the body. But we're not quite done with the neck just yet because we do need it for setting this up. So I'm just going to slot it into position so we know where we are. Because the job I'm going to do today is to establish where the pickups are going and to get the routes done for those. So there's a few things we need to establish before we can do any of that. The first of those being where the pickups are actually going to sit. So I've got a couple of pickup rings here that I'm just going to use for setup purposes. I'm not going to use these on the actual build. I'm going to use black ones, I think. But according to the plan, and I'm quite happy with that idea, the neck pickup sits directly against the fingerboard. The bridge pickup sits around about 60 mil from the back of that ring. So I'm just going to mark 60 mil on there, and in theory that's where the bridge pickup will sit. But before I go too far with that, I'm also going to kind of position both the bridge and the tailpiece roughly where they need to go. So I'll need to take all of those elements away for a second. I'm going to measure in where theoretically the bridge should sit. So that is 24 3/4 inches from the nut. That's not a precise measurement at this point in time, that's simply for layout purposes. When it comes time to actually install the bridge properly, the neck will be glued in at that point, so we'll be able to get a much more accurate measurement of that. But with that temporary measurement in place, we can kind of roughly position the bridge. And I'm just going to mark the back of that. And the drawing shows the tailpiece is a further 25 mil back from there. Position the neck pickup ring again, and I'm just going to mark the back edge of that. And then mark my 60 mil back from there. Now for my eye, that looks a little bit crowded there, so I'm just going to actually move that forward a little bit, and I think that looks much more like it. So I'm just going to roughly mark the front of that pickup ring. Next I need to mark some centre lines for where the pickups will actually sit, and to do that I'm just going to measure the width of the pickup ring, which is 45 mil, and then just measure back 22.5 from there. And then just use the protractor to square that line across. And then just do the same for the neck pickup. I'm going to have to do this with the neck still in position because the centre line falls within the neck pocket. So now we can actually mark out where the pickups are going to go properly with our template and start to get some material hogged out. Now in terms of the template, I was considering doing what I did with the neck pocket and making a template that sits on this jig, knowing that that will keep it square to the top of the guitar. However, upon examination, if I just use this small template and line that all up, when I fasten that down at the back, it's actually sitting on the little raised bits on the horns, so it's sitting pretty much square anyway, so I'm quite happy to just go with that on there. And on that one I might just have to pack it out a touch at the front, but I'll deal with the neck position first and then we can sort that out afterwards. Okay, so I'm just going to use those marks to just position the template. Mark it out for the initial waste removal. Don't have to be absolutely 100% accurate for this. I'm going to be drilling to well within the lines, and then we can make sure that our placement is absolutely perfect for when we do the actual routing. And just to triple check, we'll just make sure that all fits where it needs to. You don't have to be absolutely 100% spot on with these. These rings are oversized from the pickup, and the route will be slightly oversized from the pickup as well. So there will be a little bit of adjustment in both directions should we need it. However, I would prefer to be as close as possible out of the box. And it's a good job we did do that check, because this back pickup is in completely the wrong place. Let's try that again. That's more like it. That was a close call. That could have made a real mess of things. We almost found out what a 335 with a strap-like scratch plate looks like. Okay. Let's remark that. Now I'm good and paranoid. We'll just do that again. And then just one more double, triple, quadruple check. That's right, so nothing left for it now but to get this to the drill press and to get the bulk of this waste hogged out. Okay, so with those hogged out as much as we can, it's the same old story. Super glue and masking tape to affix the template. Putting that on the high spots where it will make contact. And now it's time for ear protection, and we'll start working our way down with the small trim router. Okay, so there's the neck position routed. That's all gone really well. It's nice and clean. There's a little bit of fuzziness around the top edge, but that will clean off. There's a little tiny bit of tear out actually in the neck pocket there. Not ideal, but it's not really going to make much difference. I will try and just like stick a bit of glue in there, see if I can get it to stick back in, and then trim it back once it's dried. But I'm really happy with how that's gone, and we're kind of spot on where we need to be with those. I haven't actually got the pickups yet, but once I do get them, we can obviously trial fit them, and if they're not quite fitting properly, we can do a bit more routing to make sure that they are. Okay, so with that done, it's a case of setting it all up again and doing the same on the bridge position. Okay, so that's down to depth now, and you might just be able to see in there that I found the little cutout I made in the centre block. However, as you can appreciate, I'm not really going to fit much of a control through there, so I just need to make that a little bit bigger. So to that end, I've made this little block that will fit into the template. It's got a little block and a couple of packers glued underneath it. And that's just going to sit in there like that, and then I can use that just to kind of further route out this bottom section of the pickup route until we get down far enough that we can actually then fit the pots and stuff that need to go through there. Looking at this, I might not have to do it that way. I feel fairly confident I could get them through the F-hole, but it'd be nice just to have that kind of element of safety there as well. Right, let's route that a little bit deeper. Okay, and that's the bridge pickup routed as well, and again, really happy with that. It's cut nice and cleanly, looks nice and neat. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of work to this cutout just to make it a little bit bigger. I don't think I'm going to get my pot through as it stands, but I don't think I need to take out much material to make that happen. So I'll have to have a think about how I'm going to do that, but for the time being, I'm really happy with the way that looks. And there we have it, with all the hardware put back on. I think that's looking really good. Obviously, we need to do a little bit of work on this neck tenon. That needs to be trimmed down so that it fits the pickup route properly now, but that's not a massive job really. Just 5 minutes with a handsaw will get that done. And then we're almost ready for gluing the neck in, but not quite. Now, all the way through this build, I've been saying that I'm not kind of doing any finish sanding or anything. And to be honest, this is, while it's quite smooth, it's quite a rough finish in terms of there's still some lumps and bumps from the carving process. And I don't feel absolutely comfortable with the way that I've carved these little raised sections in the horns. So the next job on the agenda is to get everything off the body again and start sanding this almost to a finished state. And the idea is to get some directional light on it so you can highlight all the little lumps and bumps with shadows and then kind of sand it and smooth it until everything is uniform and beautiful. However, that's going to be for next time. I'm going to leave this one here. This is a massive job to get out of the way. Could have gone wrong, almost did go wrong, and if it had gone wrong, it kind of would have been irreversible. So I'm really, really happy to have this job out of the way. So as always, like if you've liked, subscribe if you haven't already done so. It really does help the channel out, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.